She arrived with a perfect smile, a wedding dress that stopped the world, and a story that looked like a fairy tale. But behind the cameras, inside the most famous walls on the planet, something very different was happening. What you're about to hear is not what the royal family wanted you to know, and the reason this story was silenced for years will leave you speechless. On November 27, 2017, Kensington Palace confirmed what the entire world had been waiting for. Prince Harry and American actress Meghan Markle were engaged. It was an unprecedented story, a divorced television actress of mixed heritage entering the oldest, most rigid family in the Western world. The world fell in love with that story. Millions of people saw in Meghan Markle something new, something refreshing, a modernisation of the monarchy. The wedding on May 19, 2018 was watched by more than 1,900,000,000 people around the planet. But what nobody knew then was that behind closed doors, the story was already completely different. From almost the first day, the British press began publishing increasingly damaging stories about Meghan. Stories that arrived in waves, too coordinated, too consistent to be coincidental. A source that spoke directly to the palace accused it of planting negative information in the media, using Meghan as what they called a scapegoat. In March 2021, The Times published an explosive story. Jason Nulf, the Sussex's former communications secretary, had filed a formal complaint with Palace HR back in 2018. The accusation, Meghan Markle had psychologically bullied members of staff. According to the report, 2 personal assistants had been forced out of their roles. A 3rd employee had been subjected to constant pressure. Buckingham Palace responded quickly and opened an investigation. But here's where it gets interesting. That investigation concluded in secret. The results were never published. The only change the palace acknowledged was that it would update its HR policies. Several of the people mentioned in the original complaint asked for the accusations to be withdrawn. On March 7, 2021, while the world was still processing the bullying accusations, Meghan and Harry sat down with Oprah Winfrey. What they said that night shook the monarchy to its foundations. Meghan revealed that while she was pregnant with Archie, someone inside the royal family had expressed concerns about the colour of their child's skin. The world split in two. For some, Meghan was a brave woman exposing a broken system. For others, she was using her skills in front of the camera to destroy a centuries-old institution. The royal family responded with a single line: "Recollections may vary." Those 3 words became one of the most discussed responses in the modern history of the monarchy. When Harry and Meghan moved to California in 2020, many thought that was the end of the story. They were wrong. In December 2022, Netflix released a docu-series, Harry and Meghan, 6 episodes where the couple told their version of events in their own words. It became the most watched Netflix debut in its first week in the platform's history. In January 2023, Harry published his memoirs, a book that revealed fights with William, private conversations with King Charles, and details the palace never wanted reaching the public. But here's the detail that unsettles the crown the most. Despite all the scandal, despite all the accusations, despite the constant media noise, Meghan's popularity in the United States did not fall. It rose. In April 2025, she was invited to speak at the Time 100 Summit in New York, not as a controversial figure, not as a troublemaker, as a global influencer. And so, we arrive at the question that divides millions of people. Was Meghan Markle a victim of the system, or a manipulator who destroyed a family? The truth, as almost always happens with the most complex stories, is probably somewhere in between. A rigid institution that failed to adapt. A person who also failed, or refused, to adapt to it. What remains undeniable is this. The encounter between Meghan Markle and the British royal family changed both of them forever. And the world has not finished processing what happened inside those walls. Today, Meghan Markle has a new Netflix show, her own lifestyle brand, and millions of Instagram followers. It appears she has moved past the royal chapter entirely, but Prince Harry is still trying to reconcile with his father, King Charles, who was diagnosed with cancer in 2024, and with his brother William, who, according to royal experts, remains the biggest obstacle to any family peace. The story didn't end, it just changed its setting. And you, what do you think? Was Meghan the villain of this story, or the only one who dared to tell the truth? Leave your opinion in the comments.